Logic.
So with that being said, Major League Baseball season is 7 days old now. April 1st was opening day. It is now April 8th, Thursday edition here on Big X Sports Radio. So, Tori, I want you to give me 3 teams that are hot right now in Major League Baseball, and you are going to ride them till the wheels fall off.
Yeah, and the first one, I want to punch myself in the throat when I say this. I know Hoffy would want to punch me. I know Brandon would want to punch me. But the Houston Astros,
Ooh.
they're off to a 5-1 start. It's not like they've played nobody. Their first 6 games have been against the Oakland A's and the Los Angeles Angels. Pretty much the 2 primary contenders that they got in the division that a lot of people like Brandon, I believe, picked them, the Angels to win the World Series.
Yeah.
Popular pick is for Oakland to go to the playoffs. Houston just keeps winning. As much as it pains me, as much as I don't want to say it, but they do. They've got a great mix on that team of veteran and young talent. They're like the Yankees of the '90s right now. They lose somebody, they just replace them with somebody else from the farm system, or they go out and they sign somebody that wasn't expected to perform, and they perform far and beyond above expectations. Go ahead.
Yes. So with that being said, the Astros have already played the A's 4 times this year, scoring 9 runs each of the first 3 of the four games. The one game they didn't score 9, they scored 8, and then again they scored 6 and 4 versus the Angels respectively. Now moving forward here, Tori, they have another 3-game series with the Oakland A's, this time at home, and then they have a 3-game series with the Detroit Tigers at home as well. So these next 6 games, you said they're hot. Are they going to continue the 5-1 streak, and they're going to go 10-2 like this next week?
I wouldn't put it past them. I would actually say, yeah. I would say that they could absolutely do it. Their bats are scorching already. Their bats are in midseason form, where a lot of teams are still trying to find that groove. A lot of teams still playing small ball. It's still cold. You got your like Chicago, you got Detroit. Right. Cleveland's stuff like that, where those stadiums, not a lot of balls are going to be going out. You're going to have to play get them on, get them over, get them in ball, and not a lot of runs are going to be scored. Their bats are killing it already. Their pitching staff, everybody was like, "Oh, Greinke's going to fall off a cliff." Greinke's looked great so far.
Yeah, he has. Very, very good. So, who is your second team that is hot first week of baseball?
So the Philadelphia Phillies, and you're going to see a common theme if you look at the Philadelphia Phillies record. They've played the Braves and they played the Mets. Again, 2 teams considered. One, I have the Braves going to the NLCS. I have them seriously considered as even a potential World Series. I think they're maybe a year away yet, but the 2 other teams that are considered not terrible, they are going to be playoff teams probably. Chances are we'll see how that division shakes out. But again, the Philadelphia lost Arrieta. Their pitching staff, you got Wheeler. Their lineup outside of Bryce Harper doesn't really super scare me. You got Bryce Harper and you got Didi outside of that, and Real Malto. But it's not like an up and down lineup like, oh my God. But they're putting up runs as well. They are putting up a ton of runs. So, if their pitching staff holds up, yeah, they're another team that's going to be right there all the way to the end. And I think a lot of people may have counted them out a little bit in this race. But I think that if they keep playing like this, yeah, they're going to be there.
And like with that being said, they are in a repeat mode here. They played the Braves to open up the season, and then the Mets, just like we said. But here Friday, they play the Braves in a 3-game set at Atlanta, and then travel to New York to play a 4-game set versus the Mets. Do you see them continue to roll still, or do they kind of start to crash back down to reality?
I don't see them continuing their role. I see them starting to crash back down. Atlanta's too good of a team to be. What are they, 2-4 right now? They're a lot better than a 2-4 team. I don't see Philadelphia continuing to roll on them. I believe the next series is in Atlanta, I believe.
Yep.
Friday. Yep. Again, warmer weather. The bats could be the ball's going to jump a little bit further, stuff like that. I don't foresee them continuing on that role. I see them coming back down to earth, and probably after next week, they could be 500 at the end of next week.
Yeah, and on yesterday's show here, Combs has Atlanta circled as a team that is falling very, very fast, and that they could easily have started the season 0-10, 0-11. Luckily, they did pull out one win there, but this is a Braves team that is hungry to get back on track. They are hungry to get in that win column. They are hungry to get to win a series. So the Braves are I mean, like, I know this is only the second week of the Major League Baseball season, but they're almost kind of in like a panic mode, like almost. So the Braves are going to be very, very hungry. So hopefully they can kind of turn things
I
around here a
think
little
I
bit.
think you see that over the weekend when they play. I really do. You're gonna see a different Atlanta squad starting to come around, and what's gonna be kind of no nonsense.
Right. I mean, hopefully, because I do like the Braves. I like their top four hitters. I think their pitching staff is pretty good as well. Freed is just amazing. Even so, fun fact: Freed has not lost a game since like last September until today. So how crazy is that?
Right.
So who is your third team that is hot?
So this one is the shocker of all of them. It's the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah.
They're 5-1. Uh, granted, and there again, they will probably come back down to earth this week. Their first three games were against the Pirates, but their next three games were against the Cardinals. They took 2 out of 3 from the Cardinals.
Yeah.
So if you look at some of the national pundits, they have the Cardinals all winning the division in the NL Central and anointing them the crown. No, Cincinnati took 2 out of 3 from them, which Luis Castillo made him look silly today.
Yeah, I did.
So I mean, after his negative 21 fantasy baseball performance for me on opening day, yeah, he turned around and dropped 26 on me for me today. So,
There you go.
but yeah, they're a surprise team, and there again, you can't discount divisional games, and that's the thing. All three of those, the thing in common those, all of those are divisional games. In the end of the day, at the end of the season, those, it's like Brandon said the other day, they basically count double at the end of the day,
Right.
and you can't discredit that. And anytime you can, if your chances are, if you win more games in your division, you're probably going to at least be 500 or better.
Yeah, and so fun fact here, guys, you can listen to the Cincinnati Reds play-by-play here on the Big X Sports Radio Network every time that they are on. So 9 times out of 10, the man hour will be bumped up to play the Reds games. So like I do know we do have a lot of Reds fans in the area, many people rooting for the Reds, and because the Reds minor league system, the Louisville Bats, are right here in our backyard, so we could see that Reds farm system grow up. And to see the Reds start out on a 5-1, I mean, to me, it is absolutely shocking. Yes, because they did start off the series versus the Cardinals, and just like what you said, Tori, many experts, like I want to put air quotes, very, very hard air quotes, around that, had the St. Louis Cardinals winning the division with probably the worst pitching staff in all of their division. And then the pitch and then they did sweep the Pittsburgh Pirates this Wednesday afternoon as well with a 5-1, or sorry, with a 11-4 win. And the Pirates, they are a bad team, but they're not horrible. But looking forward, they do travel to Arizona for a 3-game set versus the Diamondbacks, and then they stay on the West Coast to play the Giants early next week. Those two teams don't look very good either, to be honest. They're kind
No,
of struggling, like just like a tad bit. So, do you think the Reds come out in a winning fashion after these two series?
any team that has to go out west is usually going to have a tough time. Those West Coast swings are rough, and I don't care if those teams are the worst teams in baseball. Going from there and then having to play, like, say, the next day
Right.
is going to be rough. It takes you a good 2-3 days, because that, even though it's only a 2 hour time difference, well, for them it's a 3 hour time difference.
Yeah.
It's rougher on your body than you think. Um, just from somebody that's experienced going from time zone to time zone like that, it catches up with you, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, you might sleep a little bit later than you will. You might be up way earlier than you normally would.
Right.
It throws your whole routine off. So I could see them actually probably, even though they're not, both those teams are not very good, I could see them at maybe going 500 or less than 500
Ooh.
on that swing, because the Giants, I think, are going to actually start surprising people. They're not going to be great. They're not going to make the playoffs, but they're going to be better than I think some people expected
So
this year.
you are expecting them to like upset some big teams like the Dodgers and Angels over there on the West Coast?
Absolutely, I do.
Okay.
They're going to be that team that's pesky. They're going to be that team that's not great. It's like I said, not great at all, but they're going to be pesky. They're going to be that tough out team that's just going to be like, yeah, we're here to ruin your day.
Right. So jumping over here, like on the chat line, before we have before you give us three teams that are not hot, I do see we have some Reds fans here. Stacy says, "Woot woot for the Cincinnati Reds," being 5-1 going into their first off day. And then Drew also says it pains me to see the Reds win. So we are on the polar opposites here on the Reds fans. We have some Red lovers and some Red haters. So maybe they can find some happy medium, but like everybody root for the Royals because we're going to the World Series this year. I said it. I
You
said
are
it. I said
no,
it.
no.
So, all right. So
Where's the mute button?
you gave me 3 teams that are hot right now. Now give me 3 teams that are not hot.
One, the Oakland Athletics.
Oh,
For a team that was considered to be like probably one of the upper tier teams, they're 1-6 right now on the year. That is probably the most shocking thing of all. Granted, they're a small market team, but they still have all the pieces in place to be a really solid team and be a playoff contender this year. For them to start off 1-6 is absolutely nuts to me. Granted, 3 or 4, is it 4 now? Those losses are against the Astros.
well, yeah. So they lost their 4-game opening series to the Houston Astros pretty handily. 8-1, 9-5, 9-1, 9-9, 9-2, and then they lost the next two to the Dodgers and finally winning today or Wednesday in extra innings 4-3. So they have had a pretty tough schedule because I saw on somebody's power rankings. I'm not saying whose. It is not Hoffy's, but I saw them having Houston Astros in the top 5. So Houston Astros and Dodgers were both in the top 5. So can we cut the A's a little bit of slack by playing a pretty tough schedule?
I think a little bit, just because they probably played the 2 of the best teams in all of baseball. I would cut them a little bit of slack. Will they bounce back? Probably. You're going to hit those stretches where you're playing teams that aren't that great. So I would honestly cut them a little bit of slack on it.
But on the flip side of that coin, they do have or they do play Thursday here and Friday, Saturday. So they play a 3-game series versus the Houston Astros at Houston, and then they travel to Arizona for a 2-game set versus the Diamondbacks. So do you see any wins there?
Maybe when they play the Diamondbacks. The way the Astros are playing right now is just ridiculous. It's like, as much as it pains me, and I hate to say it, they probably maybe win 1 game in Houston, and they could probably take both games from Arizona. I would have to look at who's pitching and what the matchup is.
Right.
But other than that, no, the Astros will probably handle them pretty easily, and then they might get their little bit of redemption and bounce back against Arizona.
Right, and then bring up this chat here from Nana. She says, "Does Detroit Tigers still have a team?" Fun fact here is after the Oakland A's play their 3-game series versus the Astros and the Diamondbacks, they played Detroit at Oakland. So Detroit Tigers do have a team. They're playing a 4-game set over there, a Thursday through Sunday set. So.
And currently only a game out of first place, sitting at 3-3. The Detroit Tigers are. They are better than the Cleveland Indians and the White Sox right now.
I believe they're tied for first place in that division, if I'm not mistaken.
No, Minnesota's 4-2.
Okay, you're right. All right,
KC 3-2.
Yeah, Kansas City gave up a huge loss today. Greg Holland really disappointed me in the 8th inning, but we digress on that. Give me your second team that is not doing so hot right now.
That would be the wonderful Miami Marlins.
Imagine
they're not the Florida Marlins anymore. No,
Miami. Yeah,
I'm old.
Put some respect on their name.
Are these still the Tampa Bay Devil Rays?
No, they're just the Rays.
So yeah, the Marlins are not off to the they're not off to the start that they would like. And they are not world beaters by any mean either. So they've started off their season. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Rays, which the Rays are pretty good.
Yeah.
The Rays probably could go to the World Series out of the AL this year, and then they got swept by the Cardinals.
Right. A not very
which
good Cardinals team.
yeah, a not very good Cardinals team. Which if you got swept by a not very good Cardinals team and you're 1-6, that means you're pretty much terrible.
Yeah. And their record does not get any easier because they do travel to New York for a 3-game set versus the Mets, and then they travel to Atlanta for a 4-game set versus the Braves. So 2 teams top in that division as well. So I know it is hard to lose 7, 8, 9, 10 games in a row in Major League Baseball, but I could see them losing 7 games in a row. What are your thoughts?
Oh, absolutely. I could absolutely see that. It's a young team. It's a bunch of no-name team. I don't know. I just feel like next year the Marlins will, kind of pull like the Patriots did this year and sign every free agent available. And except the Patriots try to keep people,
Right.
they'll sign every free agent available, win the World Series, and fire sale it again because
Well,
that was always their mo before.
Well, correct me
I'm
if
not
I'm
sure
wrong.
Jeter will be that way, though.
Derek Jeter owns that team, right?
Yeah, I don't know if he's the controlling owner or just a partial owner. I think there's 2 or 3 owners, and I don't know who the controlling owner is, but I don't believe it's him. So that's why I don't think that they would do that, just because he's going to try to build something.
Right.
The greatest trade before that ever happened before Jeter became owner was Christian Yelich to Milwaukee.
Yeah, that was your day that they cut every big roster down, and they had like a like a $3 or $4 million payroll or something, something ridiculous. They had like 100 fans in the stands in this quadruple $1 million park. It was just ridiculous. So give me the third team that is not doing so hot.
Well, it's the other one that I think actually has a chance. Like you said, they're not terrible. They're terrible. They have a chance to break the loss record this year, and that would be the Pittsburgh Pirates. Pittsburgh Pirates basically fire sailed their team. They traded Bell. They traded Jameis and Talion. That was pretty much all the talent that team had.
Yeah.
They're a young team. They've got what's the kid's name? Harvey. I can't think of the kid's name.
I don't know who you're
third baseman.
talking about.
He's a third baseman. I'll tell you. Let me see. Where's his name?
Hayes.
Yes.
Ke'Bryan Hayes. Yeah, Ke'Bryan Hayes.
Yeah, Ke'Bryan Hayes. That's what I was thinking of. I couldn't think of it. They've got him. He's going to probably one of the better third basemen in the league once he gets rolling. But that's literally the only thing that team has going for them right now. Thanks, Drew. Yeah, Hayes. I couldn't think of that for my life. Because he got hit. He actually got hit on the wrist the other day, and they were like, "Yeah, we don't know if he's going to be any good right now."
Right.
But yeah, they've lost. They got swept by the Reds.
A good red team. A team that's hot.
Right.
A team that's going to the World Series per Stacy.
They lost 2 out of 3 to the Cubs. I mean, the Cubs couldn't even sweep the Pirates. How good can the Cubs really be? And upcoming, they've got the Cubs again, and then the Padres. So it does not get any easier for them. The only good thing is like that they get the Cubs at home, and the Padres at home. So they got a 6-game stand coming up. Are they gonna? Probably not. They're probably not gonna do anything. I would say that they lose 5 out of those 6 games.
So you think the Pirates are still going to be ice cold after this week stretch, huh?
Absolutely. I'll be shocked if they win 50 games this year.
Wow, that is a bold statement. As Drew says, he is very sad about his Pirates going this year, and Stacey says thank you that the Reds are going to the World Series. I don't think the Reds are going to go to the World Series, Stacey. I hate to burst.
I don't know, Stacey. I'm all about placing wagers. I could probably place a wager on that one too.